It's showtime, ladies and gentlemen. We are live. Welcome to How to Master Social Selling. If you're tuning in, drop in the chat, say hello, let me know where you're tuning in from, what city you're tuning in from. We're here to talk about some of my favorite things, sales and LinkedIn. Of course, this workshop and webinar is sponsored by our friends at Pipedrive. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about how you can integrate Pipedrive as a CRM. I first got onto LinkedIn 11 years ago when I was working for an online marketing agency, and I asked my boss what would be the best type of clients to target for online marketing, and he said medical practitioners. Tried going around Melbourne, knocking on doors, couldn't get past the practice manager. Tried cold calling, couldn't get past the practice manager. And I just joined this thing called LinkedIn, and I had a photograph of myself in a nightclub in Thailand doing this. So it wasn't optimized, and I used it to reach out to some owners of medical practices, surgeons and dentists and things like that. And I reached out to 10. I had 6 responses, had 4 meetings and made 1 sale. But because it was the ideal client, the sale was worth quite a lot. And so the following week, I reached out to 20 medical practices. And it wasn't long before my calendar was so full of meeting with medical practitioners that I delegated what I was doing on LinkedIn to an assistant. So very excited about the return on investment when it comes to LinkedIn. And it wasn't long before I realized that, I'm delegating what I'm doing lead generation wise on LinkedIn to an assistant. Why couldn't companies then delegate it to me? So that's when I started my company. I run a business called Bibby Media Group. We do LinkedIn marketing, LinkedIn lead generation, LinkedIn content marketing. So I'm excited to share my years of experience with you today during this webinar. So before we get started, just a couple of things I want to go through to make the most out of this class. It is very much an info-packed session. It's also live, so interactive. I can see all of your comments coming through. What I'm going to suggest you do is minimize distractions. It's tempting to have lots of browsers open, be checking your phone during the webinar. I think, if you can give me 45 minutes to an hour of your time, this is going to pay a lot of dividends for you in your business. The other thing you want to do, we will be having a demo of Pipedrive during this session, where I'll be showing you how you can actually pull in data from LinkedIn. So people always ask me, I've run these lead generation campaigns for years, and it's like, how do I keep track of all these leads in my inbox without having to do it manually? Because quite often the follow-ups can get lost. It's quite easy to lose messages in your inbox. If somebody doesn't respond, do your follow-up. And now with the integration that Pipedrive has, we've got the answer to that. You can pull in data from LinkedIn. You can set up templates to write messages. You can keep track of everything in one place. So what I'm going to suggest you do is head to the link bibby.consulting/Pipedrive, and you'll be able to sign up to a free Pipedrive 30-day trial. You won't need to enter any credit card details or anything like that. So if you don't want to continue, you don't have to. If you do decide after 30 days to continue, you'll then get 20% off when you sign up. So pretty good deal. Great to partner with somebody that I actually believe in and use. I've shifted everything over from our old CRM to Pipedrive now because it's such a user-friendly interface, and also because of the integrations from LinkedIn. So if you've just joined us, drop in the chat, say hello, let me know where you're tuning in from. Also confirm, let me know once you've set up on Pipedrive. I'm seeing some of the chats come through here. But make sure you drop in and say hello. I want to make this as interactive as possible. So the agenda for today, we're going to talk a little bit about why LinkedIn, and more so why LinkedIn these days. A lot of people say that LinkedIn's not as effective as it used to be. But that's certainly not the case. Is it the same platform as it was 10 years ago? No, it's not. We'll talk about what's going on the platform at the moment, how you can use content to create return on investment, how you can optimize your LinkedIn profile will be the next thing we cover. I'm going to share with you my lead generation system, which has generated over 400 million in sales for our clients, and been using that for 11 years. And we're going to go through some examples, what we message people, the sort of connection requests we send, Then we'll go into a Pipedrive demo. I'm going to save you a lot of time, show you exactly how to set it up, how you can integrate it with LinkedIn and some of the cool features you can use to manage your sales process on Pipedrive. And then we're going to go into content marketing, which is a lot of fun. And I've got a load of posts and examples to share with you there. So I'm really obviously we've only got an hour or so together. What I'm going to be focusing is on the things that are going to have the biggest impact, where you can get the most return on investment. Good to see Joanne here, Cam here, Amanda. Hi guys, welcome to the class. Please jump in the chat if you're listening in and you haven't dropped in a comment yet. And I'll just give you a bit of background about myself, just to give you a bit of context as to why I might be somebody to listen to on this topic. So running LinkedIn marketing campaigns for 11 years. Back in the day, LinkedIn was really a networking tool. It was set up for recruiters. And so you could really only private message. There was only a couple hundred people on there that could post articles at a time. Guys like Tony Robbins, Richard Branson, things like that. And then they opened the doors slowly to let any member post articles. Articles was the first form of content. And then they moved into shorter form posts and then videos, and now you can do events and lives and things like this. I decided to enter into the Social Media Marketing Awards in 2019 with one of the campaigns that we run, and under the category Best Use of LinkedIn, and we won that year. Also, in 2020, I entered another campaign and we won that year as well. So I've got a couple of accolades that they're based on my results. I'm getting about 1 million organic views per year on LinkedIn without paying for any advertising at all. So as we're going, guys, feel free to drop questions in the chat. I'm keeping an eye on everything that people are writing in there, so feel free to drop in questions. I'll answer them as we go or when's appropriate. I think LinkedIn is an opportunity that in most cases by businesses is missed, but 90% of companies aren't taking full advantage of it. Sure, they might have a profile on there, their team might have a profile, but it's not set up for customer-centric conversions. A lot of companies, in fact, even the bigger ones, their team's profiles are all set up as CVs, and so they're ideal for recruiters. So LinkedIn might be working against them because they might be losing talent rather than speaking in customer-centric language, using it to get free attention and engage that intention into leads and opportunities. And I think the reason that most people miss the opportunity is just because they don't understand it, and so they tend to stick their head in the sand. So I think this is a huge opportunity for B2B companies. I mean, if you look at it compared to Facebook and Instagram, where people are using it to connect with their friends, sure, Facebook and Instagram might be great for business to consumer, but it is getting more competitive, it is getting more expensive, and it is inappropriate on those platforms to start talking about business. I mean, that's not what the platforms are created for. LinkedIn is the only business professionals networking site. So it's completely appropriate to start talking about business opportunities, partnerships. You can get straight to the point. So what I've found is, I've got almost 20,000 subscribers on YouTube. I've got just over 30,000 on Instagram. And I'm not doing that to impress you. I'm doing it to impress upon you that those followers don't necessarily convert to dollars. Whereas LinkedIn has always categorically returned return on investment for me. So that I think this is where the money is to be made. And when it comes to business, LinkedIn is the platform, especially if you're in B2B. Just a bit of an overview on LinkedIn at the moment. It's got over 1 billion members now, 200 countries worldwide, which is phenomenal. I mean, the amount of growth that they've had is just ridiculous. Like in the last 11 years, I've just seen them go from 100 million to 200 million and up and up and up. So if anyone's in the white collar workforce, they're on LinkedIn. It's like people always say to me, I don't know if my target market's on LinkedIn. Trust me, guys, there's enough people on LinkedIn for you to target. And if you're not seeing everyone show up in your search results, it's not because they're not on there. What you typically see on LinkedIn are your first degree connections, and then people that have mutual connections with you. So your secondary degree connections, and then you might see some of your third degree connections, depending on what kind of professional account you have, whether you've upgraded or not. But you're not going to see everyone. Not everyone's going to be in your sphere of influence on LinkedIn. So if you can't find someone, it doesn't mean they're not on there. It just means that you might be a couple stages of connections away from them, if that makes sense. The US Digital Trust Survey highlights that LinkedIn is the #1 most trusted social media platform, compared to all the others. It's twice as trusted as Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, all of those. Pinterest is the second most trusted. YouTube's is 8. So what that means is, if people are looking at content on LinkedIn versus looking at content on Facebook, and they're likely to trust the content on LinkedIn twice as much, I believe that impression or that view is twice as valuable. I think if people are trusting the content on the platform then it's worth a lot more. The attention's worth a lot more. So some of the reasons why LinkedIn's so valuable. 4 out of 5 LinkedIn members drive business decisions. So it's not just business professionals it's on there, it's key decision makers. The higher they are up in the corporate world, or the closer to a founder or an owner they are, the more likely they are to have a LinkedIn profile and be involved in business decisions. And what we've noticed is in B2B, there's more and more people involved in the decision-making process now, and they all have LinkedIn profiles. Audiences on LinkedIn have 2 times the buying power of the average web audience. And audiences on LinkedIn are 6 times more likely to convert. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the ways you can sell on LinkedIn. I mean, this is a webinar about sales, and so these are some of the things that you can be thinking about when it comes to selling on LinkedIn. So obviously posting content, but there's so many different ways you can post content. You could be doing images, you can do videos, you can do articles. LinkedIn polls is a huge missed opportunity, and it's quite hot right now. Multiple choice posts where you're asking people to select a 3 or 4 multiple choice, just like the old high school days, from an answer. And people think, well, how can that convert into sales? Well, let's say, in the case of my business, for example, it's like, well, what's the biggest thing you struggle with on LinkedIn? And number 1 could be profile optimization. Number 2 could be lead generation. Number 3 could be content marketing. And number 4 could be sales. And then all the people that vote, because you do get lots of votes. Every vote is an engagement, so the post generally does pretty well. I can then follow up with them individually. I can see who's voted, follow up and say, hey, I noticed that you want more help with sales on LinkedIn. Let's set up a call, or here's a free resource. And then you're pulling them into like a lead magnet where you can get their email address. Very effective way of generating leads. I will say with the polls, and this goes for all types of posting on LinkedIn, the more simple that you make the content, the more engagement you will get. So when it comes to polls, you don't want, a long sentence for each option. It needs to be like 2 or 3 words. Make it really easy for people to see at a glance what you're asking, what the options are, and then you'll find that you'll get good engagement on your post. And good engagement means more views, more attention, and that's what we're looking for. You can do text posts on LinkedIn. You can write newsletters, which are very popular these days, and you can do carousels, which are like slideshows basically, which are also very valuable. LinkedIn have come out and publicly said that they're favoring content creators who use a mixture of these, so not just one, using at least 2 or 3 different types of content when they're posting. Direct messaging, something I'm a big believer in. Now, this is probably a controversial one, because a lot of us get salesy letters in our inbox and think, well, I don't want to do that for my business. LinkedIn messaging doesn't work. What you'll find is if somebody is doing a message effectively, you probably either won't know that it's a sales message that's been sent to lots of people, because it'll be relationship focused, conversational, or if it's from somebody that you have a relationship already, or they're already posting content, then you're probably more likely to respond if it is a somewhat salesy message. Like quite often, I'll send an offer to people in my audience, offering them a free LinkedIn profile review. When we've got capacity to take on more clients, that's generally what I do to generate more leads. Because the people that are receiving it have been seeing my content for a while, I already have a relationship with them, they're much more likely to respond. So it works very well. LinkedIn live streams and LinkedIn events. This particular example that we're doing right now covers both of those. This is live and it is a LinkedIn event. The advantage with LinkedIn events is you can invite people to join. You may have received an invitation to this event, and it comes through a little bit like a connection request. You can also market the events through posts. You can market it through your email campaigns. And we've got audio events as well. The good thing about audio events is you can actually get people who are tuning in to join in, and they can ask questions and things like that. Call to action on your profile. This is one thing that's often overlooked. If you're getting views on your profile and they're not converting into leads, then there's a couple of things that we need to change on your profile to make it convert better, and I'll talk to you exactly about how to do this. And then obviously converting the conversation to email or telephone. One thing that's often overlooked is taking the conversation offline. I'm a big believer in, once you've got a conversation going on LinkedIn, pulling the conversation offline and either having a video meeting or a phone call. By the way, emails are very easy to get on LinkedIn. If you create something like a lead magnet, something of value that you can offer your audience through posting content, direct messaging, live streams, etc., then you give people a link and they enter their email to get the free resource. So it's a very easy way to grow your email database as well. Okay, so the first topic of today is profile optimization. So the most important thing of your profile is your profile photograph. So I've just got an example of mine there. It's not overly complicated really, but a lot of these things are missed by people. Make sure your photograph is high resolution. It will do a lot better. It just comes across a lot more professional if it's a high resolution photograph. So it's worth getting a professional photograph done if you haven't got one done already. Show your face clearly. People, if you use like the law of likability, I guess, like if it's common sense, but people are more likely to have a positive affiliation with you if they can see your eyes clearly, can see your face clearly, limit distractions, and smile. So you kind of want the photograph to cover from the upper part of your chest to your face. You don't really want it too zoomed out, and you don't want it too close up. Showing your neck is helpful, makes you seem open, make sure they can see your eyes, the white in your eyes, the white in your teeth, and obviously smile. And then behind the photograph, you've got that background image there. And the reason I'm covering these visual cues is because we remember 20% of what we read, but 80% of what we see. So our brains process visuals up to 60,000 times faster than text. So you want to make use of this background photo. So what are some of the ways that you can use this background photo to your advantage? Well, it could be to promote. You could use it as like a rolling billboard, like promoting events, launches, new book, new product. You could use it to build credibility, whether you put your awards in there, an image of you speaking, social proof, the number of Google reviews you have, or a testimonial from a client. You can use it for branding, having your logo and tagline in there. Yeah, that's applicable for big companies. If you've got a lot of employees with LinkedIn profiles out there, they should really be portraying a uniform brand message. By having a branded background photo, you can achieve this. And a lot of companies aren't taking advantage of the background photo at all. You can use it for conversions, so having a call to action in their background photo. If you've got an offer like a lead magnet or a free strategy call, mention it in your banner, and you'll get more conversions because you're telling people what to do next. And then lastly is if you want an easy solution. I mean, like if you're based in Melbourne, for example, and you target people in Melbourne, having an image of the Melbourne city skyline or Albert Park or something like that, it will give some familiarity with the people that you're targeting. If you're networking with people in Melbourne, having an image of the city skyline will build that familiarity and relatability. So that's just an example of my LinkedIn banner. So I'm doing a few things here, building credibility, social proof. I've got my awards there, got an image from one of my events, and you can see that I'm highlighting the call to action is really to hit that notification bell, which allows people to get notified every time I post. So if you don't want to miss out on posts, you hit the notification bell on somebody's profile and you'll get notified every time they post. And that really helps with engagement and making sure people don't miss posts, because you're not going to see everything that people post unless it gets good engagement or you're engaging on their content a lot. So if you don't want to miss a post that somebody's putting up, make sure you hit the notification bell. Here's another example, CEO of LinkedIn. Obviously, this is a branded example of a background photo. Another example here, this particular woman has got one of her speaking, and she also mentions that she's a keynote speaker in her headline. So this is really catering towards getting more speaking gigs, which is a great example. And this is obviously a more branded with a bit of a unique selling proposition on there as well. And then in the background, you can kind of see him speaking in a presentation as well. So quite like that one. Okay, moving on. So you may have noticed on some people's LinkedIn profile, they have a link below their headline there. You can see mine says book a free 15-minute call. I mean, I do change this around. At the moment, I'm offering free 15-minute calls, so that's what I've got there. Sometimes it'll be a link to download a free resource, so I can capture email addresses, so you can switch it up. But this will really help with conversions. I mean, if any of you have built websites before, you would have heard of conversion-based design, and they talk about having like inquiry forms above the fold of the page on a website, and you'll get more conversions. Well, the same principles apply on a LinkedIn profile. By having a link there that you want people to click on higher up on the profile, you're just going to get more conversions. And so the biggest mistake you can do is not have anything there, because of course people aren't going to convert if they can't see a place to convert immediately. So yeah, this is one example of what you can do. If you've got a premium profile, you can also display a custom button. You can't do both. You can either do one or the other. So you can do a link or a premium custom button. The advantage with the link is you can customize what it says. Here's what I wrote, free 15-minute calls customized. If you have a button, you've got to choose between book an appointment, view my blog, view my portfolio, view my website, view my store. The advantage with the button is you'll notice that when people post in the feed, you can see a link underneath their name and headline that says visit my website. So they're actually getting a link in feed by having a button there. So just depends on what you're trying to achieve. Like if you've got a post that's going viral, it might be worth switching to a custom button so that post has a link in it. You'll find that you'll probably get more clicks if you've got a button, but you'll probably get more targeted clicks if you've got a custom link, because you can explain exactly what it is you're offering. Okay, now we're going to talk about the headline. Headline's quite important. You want to avoid the mistake of just having your job title in the headline. I mean, I talk about this over and over again, but it's very important. It's becoming more important. I used to suggest putting keywords in your headline because so many people were using LinkedIn as a search engine. And so, if somebody was searching LinkedIn training, I want to make sure I come up at the top of the search results. Therefore, I put it in my headline and put it throughout my profile. Which has been important. But what's happened more recently on LinkedIn, which is very interesting, is when you're posting content, LinkedIn's actually looking at what you're talking about in the content, and then they're looking at what you've got in your profile to see if they can tie the two together. Because if I've got a post about LinkedIn training and I've also got that information in my profile, then it will see me as an authority on that topic, and then we'll show my post to people that are interested in LinkedIn, for example. So it's quite important these days from your content perspective to have these keywords in your headline. So I would avoid just having your job title. You can have your job title, but then add extra keywords and separate them with a divider like you can see I have. So I've got quite a few keywords in here. My keywords are business, LinkedIn lead generation, LinkedIn training. I've used LinkedIn as a keyword 3 times in my headline. You can see I've got some bit of credibility there with the awards, and then speaker as well. If people are searching for speaker, I'm more likely to show up by having that in there. So just in summary, for your headline, use searchable keywords that you think your audience might be searching for. Highlight the value that you provide. Explain what you do, and that should be done really in the first 40 characters of the headline, because you'll notice that when you post, people don't see all the headline, they see the start of it. So make sure the start of it explains what you do. You can divide it into sections with dividers like I showed you, or using emojis. Add credibility with social proof, and if you can, avoid bragging. You want to really when it comes to your LinkedIn profile, you'll want to let the social proof do the bragging for you. So where you can, use testimonials or social proof, recommendations, things like that to do the selling for you, rather than telling people how great you are. So I've mentioned the award in my headline, which is a way of using third-party credibility to build social proof. Okay. Here are a couple of headline examples from clients that I've worked with in the past. You can see, Ashwin, tax, super, financial planning, investment, SMSF, the keywords that we put in there. We've still got that he's principal and owner, so they can see that they're talking to the owner of the business. But we've got a lot of keywords in there as well. Craig, business mentor. He's got speaker, mentor, performance, corporate programs, and board member in there. Which is good if you're looking to get on boards and stuff, to have that in there as well. So I talked a little bit about this, about how your profile relates to the LinkedIn algorithm. So in a nutshell, the way the algorithm works is there's three areas to it, really: relevance, expertise, and engagement. And this is directly from the LinkedIn website. So this is exactly what they're telling us, how the algorithm works. So relevance, the relevance of the post to a specific audience. So if I follow hashtags like social media and I engage on social media related posts, the chance are that, if a post is about social media, it's more likely to be shown to me, right? Expertise, the author's expertise in the post subject area. So this comes back to what's on your profile, the keywords you've got on your profile and what you're posting about. And are you continuously posting about it? So I encourage people to have 3 or 4 topics that they post about, and keep it consistent. Don't be posting about different things all the time. And we're going to talk about how to create those topics shortly. Engagement. So most important thing on LinkedIn is comments. Shares are important, but comments are really where the engagement happens, where the conversation's happening. So, if I've been commenting on Margot's post, for example, for the last 3 months, it's likely that when she posts again, I'm going to see her post pop up, just because of the engagement side of things. So these are the 3 things you've got to be thinking about. So we'll just pause for a second here, and I'll get you to write in the chat so you can really take something away from this. What are 3 keywords that you're going to target on your profile? What are 3 keywords that you can think of that would be ideal to target on your profile, that are related to the content that you talk about? So just type those in the chat. I'm just going to wait until we see some responses here. Three keywords that you're going to target on your profile that people are likely to be searching for, that are related to what you do, that are going to be related to the content that you offer. So for me, for example, it might be LinkedIn marketing, it might be social media and growing businesses, for example. And you can change these later, but let's get the conversation going. We can type 3 keywords that you're going to target on your profile in the chat. Amanda's got sports marketing. Great. Perfect. What else we got? Joanne, we've got bridal fashion, bridal trends, wedding ideas. Perfect. Sales, yes. Great, okay. Keep typing those in, guys. I know there's a little bit of a delay, but keep punching them in the chat. I will get to have a look at all of them. And then we're going to move on to talk about lead generation now. Okay, let's cover what not to do. Oh, thanks, guys. I see all the chats coming through now. Thanks, Sally. Perfect. Recruiter, talent acquisition specialist. Perfect. Definitely on the right track, guys. What not to do? Okay, so we've all seen those connection requests on LinkedIn, and you get a sales pitch within 5 minutes. So you want to avoid being salesy, and that comes down to babbling about yourself. Like in the old days, when I used to do cold calling or even door knocking, the first thing you have to do is explain who you are and why you're calling, right? Because you're on the telephone. On LinkedIn, it's a little bit different. You don't necessarily have to do that because people can click on your name and read your profile. So you don't have to send a long message babbling about what you do because people will click on your name and read your profile. So don't be salesy. Don't babble about yourself for ages. Don't send information that hasn't necessarily been asked for. Again, don't brag about yourself. Don't make it all about you. And don't assume people have a need. Like I get a lot of these messages. It might say something like, hey Nathaniel, we run a website design agency. We've won all these awards. You should really, we could really help you with your SEO and get you to #1. Click here to book in a call or whatever. So they're assuming that I have a need. Like I might not want to get to #1 on Google. I might already be on #1 on Google. The fact is they haven't asked me any questions to determine whether or not I've got a need or a problem that they can solve. So a much better way to approach it would be, hey, I've had a look at your profile. We've worked with similar companies to you. I'd love to find out more about what you're doing with your marketing to see if we can help. And then you pull the conversation offline for a video call or a call, and that's where you can ask some questions, and find out whether or not there's a need. This is the 3-step strategy for lead generation. We've got 3 steps here: find, connect, and engage, right? So find people that are the ideal client in the target market, then send them connection requests, targeted invitations, and then follow up to create opportunities with your new LinkedIn connections. This 3-step process I've been using for 11 years to generate leads on LinkedIn. We've generated well over 400 million worth of sales using it. And what I love about it is you can measure results. So, the find part of it, how many connection requests are you sending out? LinkedIn like you to send out around 400 a month. So let's say you're sending 400 a month. How many people are accepting that connection request? Look, it's not as high as it used to be. The average used to be around 200, like half. Now it's more like 150. What we try to do to counteract that is just send some more invitations. We can, as we get the campaign up and running and we get a bit good conversion rate, we find that we can send out more connection requests. So let's say you get 150 new connections, then you send them all a message, and then you can measure how many leads that generates. So let's say it generates 20 leads, 30 leads. Then if you know next month that you want to generate 20 leads, you know how many messages you need to send out. And so it's a very predictable way to generate sales on LinkedIn. Thanks for all the chats coming through, guys. So some guys are watching this at a bit of a delay if they tuned on a little bit later. So by all means, type in your 3 keywords. I will keep an eye on the chat. Okay, so when you're searching, if you type in the top search bar, for example, sales, you should see all these tabs popping up: jobs, people, groups, posts, courses, etc., etc. So to get granular with your search, you want to click on then people. If we're searching for people, we click on people, and then we'll get some more search criteria that we can use. These are called advanced search filters. Okay, so if you're looking for new connections, what you want to target is 2nd-degree connections. These are people that have connections in common with you. So people who have connections in common with you are more likely to accept an invitation to connect than, say, 3rd-degree connections who don't know anyone else that you do. It's a little bit like in a networking event. You know the same people. You can go over, introduce, shake hands, and so on. Amanda's just asked a question: comment or no comment. Can you just add a bit more context to that question, Amanda, and we'll definitely address it. Just not sure exactly what part of the presentation you're referring to there. Okay, so with advanced search features, you've got connections levels: 1st-degree connections, who people are you already connected with; 2nd-degree connections, people who have connections in common with you; and then you've got 3rd-degree connections, which people outside of your network. You can search by people who are connections of a particular individual. So, let's say I want to find followers of Gary Vaynerchuk, for example, because they might be interested, if they're interested in his content, they might be interested in my content. I can easily do a search for people that meet that criteria. People that are actively hiring. So if you are looking for job opportunities, actively hiring is something you can use. Locations, one we use a lot, what city they're in. You can search by specific as current company, past company, what school they went to, what industry they mark themselves as being in, their profile language, service categories, so what sort of services they offer, their job title, and you can even do a broad keyword search like I did at the top, sales. And then you've got Sales Navigator, where you can actually do additional things like company size, search by the size of a company, recent activity, whether they've posted on LinkedIn recently, whether they've changed jobs recently, their seniority level, so whether they're an owner, a director, a partner, entry level, etc., and their years of experience. So those are some of the search filters. Amanda, when connecting with a person, do you add a comment initially or just click connect with no comment? Look, I generally like to add a note to the connection request just to personalize it and make it a bit stand out a bit. I mean, if it's somebody I've just got off the phone with, I'm quite happy just to send connect without necessarily writing anything. But if it's somebody I've done a search for, then I ideally want to write a little note there saying, hey, I've noticed we've got some mutual connections and you're in this industry. I'd love to learn more about what you do. I'd like to invite you to join my network, something along those lines. And Cam's just dropped in the chat here. Hi, Cam. Welcome to the webinar. Do we send bulk messages to first, second, and third? Again, you can send the same message script, but you need to do them individually. So whether or not you outsource that, there are some automation tools you can use. I generally advise against automation just because it's not in line with LinkedIn's user agreement. So it's good to have a script, and you can use Pipedrive to set up templates, and then you send the messages out one by one, or you can outsource it to a company like ours, and we do it for you. More ways you can add connections. So people that have commented on your post, invite them to join your network if they're not in your network already. If they inquired through your website, this is a big one. One of the things that I like to do is when I get a new inquiry is go find them on LinkedIn and send them a connection request. Whether you met them at an event, business cards, like email addresses, 30% of email addresses expire by the end of the year. Whereas their LinkedIn profile never expires. You could have a database of 20,000 people and you hold on to it for a few years and you can only contact like 10,000 of them. Whereas if you connect with them more on your LinkedIn, then they're not going anywhere. You always have that asset to your business. If they commented on someone else's post, if somebody's engaging a lot on somebody similar to you, like let's use the Gary Vee example again, they're commenting a lot on Gary Vee's posts, it's a good chance that they will enjoy my content, and they're already proven that they are active in the comments, so they're more likely to comment on my stuff. If they're using certain hashtags in posting, search hashtags, see who's posting about those topics, and you can add them as connections. Say you see in their posts, connections of someone similar. Existing previous clients should all be in your network, really. I mean, even if you're not planning on doing business with them again, their connection, you'll get visibility to all of their connections by having them as a first degree connection. Potential business partners. Look, when I first started my company, I basically got all my clients through business partners. So I was looking for business coaches, video marketing companies, SEO companies, web design companies, guys that could refer me clients. And I'd get in touch with them and say, hey, I noticed that you're a business coach in Melbourne. I'm looking for a coach that I can refer my clients to, and vice versa. Let's set up a call. And I got a lot of referrals that way. Influencers in your niche. Connect with influencers. I mean, if you're connecting with these guys with high profile, it just means your profile is going to get more second degree connections in the search result. Gives you more credibility by connecting with influencers. Lots of reasons to do that. You might want to start a podcast and interview them. Create content together. People who have viewed your profile, if you upgrade to some sort of professional account on LinkedIn, you can see who's viewed your profile. You can send them a connection request. Say, hey, I've noticed you stopped by my profile. Are you interested in my services or just networking? I recently had somebody do that to me, actually. I was looking for somebody to do some design work for me. And I checked out somebody's profile and I got a message from them the next day saying, hey, I noticed you stopped by my profile. Are you interested in my services or just looking around? And I said, oh, you're on the money. I was actually definitely curious about this, and this. So they generated a lead that way. Met at a networking event, somebody that follows your company page. A lot of people that follow your company page don't necessarily connect with you. So that's another way to add connections. So when you going back to Amanda's question about, do you add a note? Here's some examples of notes that you could write when you're sending an invitation. So customized invitations. So this might be a little bit blurry, but this example says, hi, Andrea, I'm also in the social media thought leaders group, and I've really enjoyed your posts. The piece you shared a week or two ago about PR was thought-provoking. I'd love to learn more about your work. Best, Nathaniel. So that's an example of somebody who's in the same group as me, and also mentioned one of the posts that they put up. So that's going to be a high converting message, that one. Hi Andrea, I noticed we share a number of mutual connections and you're also based in Perth. I thought I'd invite you to connect and perhaps catch up and learn more about what you do at some point in the future. Regards, Nathaniel. So again, I've mentioned mutual connections and that we're also based in Perth. Nothing about me. It's all about them. I'm not talking about myself because they can click on the name and read my profile. Another one here, this is with an influencer. Hi Sarah, I enjoyed watching your YouTube video about marketing automation and keen to learn more about what you do. I noticed we share a number of mutual connections too, so I thought I'd reach out to connect. Cheers, Nathaniel. So giving somebody a compliment that you watched their YouTube videos and enjoyed it, going back to the law of likability, people are likely to respond to that, something like that. Here's a message from my inbox that I often use as an example, but there's tons of these I could be using of what not to do. So this guy's written, hi Nathaniel, hope you're doing good. I'm a business analyst, blah, blah, blah. We are a certified digital marketing company. We help shape up the business, more than 10,000 clients. It's all about them, right? It's a long message. It's all about the person sending it. I don't care. That message will convert very poorly. They're sending thousands of these out and be getting no responses. So that's what not to do. Here's another one that I received. Hi Nathaniel, just a quick one to say thanks for accepting my invite. Great start. The idea is that now we're connected. Hopefully we can find time for a face-to-face just to see if maybe my product might be of value to your clients. I'd really appreciate that opportunity. So what I like about this message is it's short. The start with thanks for accepting my invite. What he's done wrong is he's again talked about what's in it for him rather than what's in it for me. So if he just changed it a little bit and said, hopefully we can find time for a face-to-face or a call will probably be better, just to see if maybe your product might be of value to my clients. That's the value that could be in it for me. And then of course we can talk about his product as well, but just wording it in what the value might be to me, you get a much better conversion rate. This is one that we sent for a client. So you can see how we made it about the person we're sending it to. It's very direct. Hi, John. I've had a look at your profile, interested in catching up. We are seeking someone in the building industry who is serious about their growth objectives, and it seems like they could be an ideal fit. How are you placed for a telephone chat over the next few days? We've got a really good conversion rate from this. It was very direct, and one of the things you'll notice that we said is we're seeking someone in the building industry. We're not seeking clients in the building industry or multiple businesses that are serious about their growth objectives, and it seems like they could be an ideal fit. So we're not assuming there's a need. We're saying it seems like they could be an ideal fit. Let's have a telephone chat to find out. Okay, let's look at a case study. So this is Maureen, somebody we worked with in Singapore. She said, wow, thanks a million guys. After just a few days, I've almost doubled my network and already have 10 qualified leads. So Maureen sells real estate in Singapore, but she sells Australian real estate. So she's selling new projects in Australia to guys based in Singapore. And she said to me, it's a shame, Nathaniel, that LinkedIn is for business to business, not business to consumer, because obviously I'm selling properties to individuals, not to businesses. It's a shame we couldn't do something together. So I had to think about it, and I thought, why don't we target CEOs that are based in Singapore that went to university in Australia. So they've got some tie with Australia, but they're living in Singapore and they're a CEO, which means they've got a high income, right? Well, likely to have a high income, you would think. Because a lot of guys that work over abroad as expats save up a lot of money, and the idea is that they invest it back, in Australia for when they retire. So anyway, we sent 500 invitations over the course of a month. We had 277 people accept that invitation, and we sent them all a message inviting them to an event about Australian property, and 42 people registered. So it worked extremely well. All of a sudden, she got 42 CEOs in a room that went to university in Australia who want to learn more about property. And Maureen's been using this system every month to fill up a room and sell real estate. So it's worked particularly well. Just by being a bit creative with the targeting, we've been able to create a lead generation system where she has to spend no money on ads whatsoever. Here's another example. Don't be afraid with all the numbers, I'll talk you through it. So College for Adult Learning is a higher learning company in Melbourne, and they were spending a lot of money on Google advertising, and we came along and started a campaign for them, managed to generate 122 leads within the first month of their lead generation campaign. We were targeting HR managers in healthcare, food production, and not-for-profits. So, let's just look at food production. We'll pick food production. They got a large number of leads from that. 505 invitations were sent. Only 195 accepted, which is 38%. It's pretty not fantastic, but then we sent 160 messages to those people. So we didn't message all of them. What happens is when we get a new connections, we send our clients a list of the new connections, and they might exclude some of them based on whether they've worked with them previously or they're not quite in the target market. So we only sent 160 messages out of the 195 we connected with, and we got a 38% conversion rate, 61 leads from that message. HR managers are great to target on LinkedIn. They're active on LinkedIn and they're very responsive, and they're using it all the time to find talent, right? And then, you can see in not-for-profit, we only sent 74 invitations, 30 new connections, messaged them all, got 12 leads. In healthcare, we sent 582 invitations, 42% accepted, 247 new connections. We messaged 206 of them, and that got 49 leads. So overall, very, very effective campaign, this one. Here's another one. These guys do commercial office fit outs. Within 30 days, the BB team had optimized my profile. I'm consistently meeting with at least 2 potential clients every day. So have a look at the numbers of Clarity Interiors, shall we? Let's have a look here. 241 invitations. So not a huge amount. We could send a lot more than that in a month. We got 183 new connections, 75% conversion rate, which is fantastic. Sent them all a message, and wow, 41% conversion rate. Excellent. 75 leads in the course of a month. And Dean said this is the most effective lead generation system I have come across. Again, we're not paying it for any ads. This is just sending messages, connecting, and building relationships. Okay, now 80% of sales require 5 follow-ups after the initial contact. But 45% of salespeople give up after 1. And I can tell you right now, I'm guilty of this as well. I've missed follow-ups. This is statistics from WordStream. I'm sure you can all relate to this. Only 8% of salespeople actually follow up 5 times. 44% stop following up after 1 rejection. 22% stop following. Rejection might be just somebody not answering an email. That's 44% after 1. That's a lot. And we've all fallen into this category at some point. 22% after two rejections or no responses. 14% after 3, etc., etc. So what does this mean? Well, we need to be following up, right? And in order to do that, we need to keep track of our leads. If you're getting, like Dean got 75 messages in your inbox, it's very easy to lose track if you're not, keeping track of them, and writing them on a piece of paper is easy to get lost. You need a system, a CRM system, a contact management system that can help you automate the follow-up, send reminders, send automated emails, and that is where Pipedrive comes into play, ladies and gentlemen. So, why Pipedrive? And if you haven't already signed up for the 30-day trial that I've set up with Pipedrive for you guys, you don't need to enter any credit card details. But if you do decide to sign up after using it for 30 days, you'll get 20% off. You just want to go to bibby.consulting/Pipedrive to get that offer. It'll streamline your sales data and communications, track the progress of your sales in the pipeline, make sure leads are followed up on time. You can save time with automated follow-ups. They're even integrating AI now, which we all need to be taking note of. AI is going to be very important moving forward. Access sales performance at a glance. If you're going to be managing a sales team, it's crucial that you have a system that you can manage sales performance. Accurately predict sales revenue. So each sales opportunity has a probability assigned to it. What I love about Pipedrive, it's very easy to use, very user-friendly. Drag leads in directly from your inbox in your email or LinkedIn. Keep all your notes and messaging in one central place. You can create templates that you can use on LinkedIn or you can use on email. AI can even help you write those automations. Like it'll suggest, hey, you need to follow up this guy. Why don't we send him this email? AI can do that for you. Obviously, we talked about managing your sales team effectively. So at this point, we're going to do a demo. I'm going to bring up Pipedrive and show you exactly how to use it, how you integrate with LinkedIn. So make sure you go to this link and sign up for your 30-day trial so you can start setting this up for yourself. bibby.consulting/Pipedrive. Just drop in the chat and let me know if you've signed up already. And we're going to get started on the demo here. So I'll just give you a bit of time to sign up to Pipedrive, and then we're going to launch the demo here. Okay, let's go. Installed Pipedrive, you can add this tool here called Surf, which allows you to pull in contacts straight from LinkedIn. So I'm going to show you how we can do this. So just for the sake of this example, I'm going to bring up Bibby team LinkedIn profile, and you'll see when you load up a new profile, you'll see it just loading here. There's this extra section. What it does is it pulls in all the information from your LinkedIn profile. So you can see here, Bibby team's not in my CRM yet, so I can either add them as a contact and it'll pull in their details, their name, their job title, email if that's available, contact information, website, and then you can sync that up with your email, which is pretty cool. So you can add them as a lead or you can add them as a deal. Let's say we want to add them as a deal. Let's say we're talking to these guys about coming on board as a client. And I just want to show you how it then populates in Pipedrive and how you can use it to manage your deal. So I'm going to put it in the demo pipeline here, which I've set up for this particular call. And now it's pulled all of the information in. So if I go over to Pipedrive and I'm in the deal section here, which you can see on the left tab, the dollar sign there, that's for deals. And this is the pipeline that I've set up. So it's very visual. You've got contacts made, first appointment, proposal made, and contract signed. So you can kind of move the deal along as you go. If I click on the deal here, I'm able to put in some information like the transaction size, for example. So let's say this particular transaction is worth $10,000. Pop that in, and you can set up products. So you could literally just select products that this proposal involves. So you have a value on your deal, and you can set up the products to have a monthly fee or a one-off fee, entirely up to you. You can add labels. So it might be like, let's say, this is a lead gen. So we'll put in lead gen, and then that's put it. So you can, at a glance, you'll be able to find all your lead gen prospects pretty quickly. Set deal probability. This is a great one. This is how you can really manage your sales pipeline. So what's the probability that this is going to close? Now, if I don't put anything on here, the stages of each of the deal stages have assigned probability to them. Let's say that we're just doing the first meeting. So, it's not a closed deal yet. It's a 20% probability, which means that 20% of $10,000 is $2,000. So that kind of says that your sales pipeline is worth $2,000 at the moment. You can imagine if you add more and more deals with probabilities assigned to them, you can kind of get an indication of what your month's going to look like, whether you need to get more leads in the funnel to meet your target, etc., etc. Expected close date, let's say that we're expecting to close this by the end of the month, so we can save that in there. You can set up Calendly events. I've synced this with my Calendly. Your activities, so you can put notes in here. So if you've got a team working on your deals with you, all your notes will be added here. Activities, so let's say if you made a call, you can log it here. You can even make calls from Pipedrive. Your emails, if I have any emails to Pipedrive, they'll also be synced up here. If I have any emails to BB Team and the email address they've used there, this will be synced up as well. So it actually syncs up to your email inbox as well. You can add files. You can use it for your invoicing if you want to sync it up to your invoice system. So I've added a bit of information there. If I go back to deals, you can see the values there. And once I've moved it across to first appointment, I can move it across there, and then to proposal made, and then contract signed. One of the reasons I've always loved Pipedrive since it's come into existence is how simple it is to visualize your sales pipeline. And so you can do that through this deals section. And it's great that it syncs up to LinkedIn. I mean, this is perfect because it's such a nightmare managing your inbox, trying to keep track of all of your follow-ups and deals in the pipeline. Whereas if you sync it up with Pipedrive, you can see it all pretty quickly. If I scroll down the left here, you can see you can set up email campaigns here to nurture your contacts. I've got this thing called Sales Inbox. So this syncs up with my email, so I can add people directly from here to deals if I want to as well, not just from LinkedIn. You've got activities. You can set reminders to follow up, all this kind of stuff. These are all my contacts. I've recently imported all of these from my other CRM, which I'm not using anymore. I've moved everything over to Pipedrive. It's a really insightful way to keep on track of your leads, sync up with LinkedIn. And I'd encourage you all to start setting up your contacts, sync it up to your calendar, whether you use Google or Outlook. You can sync it up to your sales inbox and start navigating your deal structure. So you can customize these however you want. If you want to change this, the way that it's set up, you just click on this pen signal next to the name of the pipeline, and you can customize these. So whether you want it to be, it might be if you're doing a SaaS product or you're, doing a software product, it might be a demo that comes first. You might have more than one appointment, but you can customize it to suit you and then assign probabilities to each stage of the process. So contact made, I've just got 5%. First appointment 20%, proposal made 30%, contract signed obviously 100%. So really easy way to set up your own customized sales pipeline, and then keep an eye on everything so that you don't forget to follow up. All right, guys, I hope that was helpful, giving you a demo of Pipedrive. There's a load more things you can do with it. I mean, I use the templates in LinkedIn as well. If you've attended this event, you'll be getting a message with recording and the link to sign up to Pipedrive as well. I mean, Pipedrive have sponsored this webinar, so they've given me that free 30-day trial for you all to check it out and see what I'm talking about. So I encourage you all to do that. Okay, we're going to move on now to content marketing. When it comes to content, I find a lot of people are unfocused rather than being focused. And what that means is they're reactive. They haven't got a plan in place. They're not in control. They're not sure about the future, no breathing room. They're still second guessing. They're just waking up in the morning thinking, I need to do a post today. What do I post about? What I'm going to encourage you all to do is be focused and proactive. Plan your content in advance so that you can confidently make decisions. You know what you're posting at the start of the month for every post. It might seem like I'm just thinking up posts on the fly, but most of the time, most of my posts throughout the month are planned in advance. They certainly are for clients, and they're written out in advance. So a client can improve them once and then they go up throughout the month. One of the things I often talk about is the mere exposure effect, which is a psychological phenomenon by which people tend to develop a preference for things merely because they are familiar with them. In social psychology, this effect is sometimes called the familiarity principle. So if we use the example of you driving down the street and you see 3 billboards advertising Coca-Cola, all things being equal, you're more likely to buy Coca-Cola because it's more familiar than you are Pepsi, for example. And so what I think about social media, I think, and these days you need more than 3 exposures. You need like at least 25. So I think about, how do I get 25 exposures in front of my target audience so I'm more familiar than my competitors and therefore more trusted, more likable, and they're more likely to do business with me when they have a need. And so that's how I kind of tend to think about social media, using the mere exposure effect. So you want to optimize your profile, post at the right time, post consistently, mix up your content times, and use links strategically. Ideally, you don't want to put links in your post. Ideally, put them in the comments. You'll notice that most of the time when I'm posting with a link, I say, hey, check out the link in the comments. Because LinkedIn generally want people to stay on their platform. So if you've got a link in your post, it signifies to LinkedIn that you're encouraging people to leave the platform, and therefore your LinkedIn won't get as much reach. There's a screenshot here of of when is best to post on LinkedIn. The dark blue being the highest engagement, the white or lighter blue being the lower engagement. So look, 9 to 5 on weekdays are best. You can see there's a little bit of it sort of gets a bit darker towards the end of the day, around 4:30 there. Generally because people are on a commute home from work, or they're just winding up for the day, so they're checking their LinkedIn. But certainly weekdays are the best. I find that Monday through to Thursday are the best times to post. If your audience is mainly local, meaning your audience live where you do, then I'd suggest posting in the morning, just purely because then you've got that whole day of dark blue area where people are likely to be using LinkedIn. So that means that because you post in the morning, they're more likely to engage with your post throughout the day. The issue with posting at night is it doesn't take long before the engagement will drop off entirely. I remember one of my first big interviews when I was doing the LinkedIn Heroes series, where I interviewed entrepreneurs. I interviewed Dr. John Demartini, and I was so excited about it. When I got the edit back, I posted it at like 11 p.m. at night. And of course, it got no engagement until the morning, so it didn't actually go as viral as I hoped. What I actually did is end up reposting it the next week, and I posted it on a Monday morning. And because it had all day to get engagement, then it did really well, that particular post. And you want to add value through your content. So there's 4 ways that you can do this. You've got information, entertainment, inspiration, and education. Let's talk about some examples here of these type of posts. So inspiration. This one says, if you can't read it, boom, 10K subscribers on YouTube. I used to be quiet about these kind of wins, but I'm helping 10,000 people. Social media isn't about popularity, it's about adding value, and that needs to be celebrated. Thank you for all your support, legends. This was something that I would not generally boast about. I don't know if it seems like I'm boasting or not, but I think, why would I talk about how many followers I have on a platform? But then I remembered that inspirational content does so well, get so much engagement, that if I write it in the right way, so I'm being appreciative for the support, and just got the whiteboard out. This was during COVID. I don't know if you can tell. Put 10K on the whiteboard there, and that did particularly well. Inspiration's a great way to get a lot of engagement. You can do that through motivational quotes. So creating quote cards, you can either outsource to a company like us to do them, or you can create them in Canva, which has got some great templates on there. You can see these inspirational quotes, like if you're searching for that one person that can change your life, take a look in the mirror. One of the most important decisions you'll ever make is who you spend your time with. If you hang out with chickens, you're going to cluck, and if you hang out with eagles, you're going to fly. Inspirational posts like this generally get good engagement. People are attracted to this sort of momentum and this inspiring stuff. Here's an example from a client of mine. So it doesn't necessarily have to be about yourself. You can write inspirational posts about clients, business partners, people you don't even know. So this particular client was looking to raise $1 million in 3 weeks for his startup. They created e-bikes. And so I got a call from a friend that owns an agency. They were doing their Facebook marketing and they said, hey, it'd be helpful to do some LinkedIn as well. So I went in for a meeting. They wanted to raise $1 million in 3 weeks. And after 3 weeks, we raised just over $1 million through the marketing we did on Facebook, LinkedIn, and just through his own networks. And I was invited by the owner of the business for a champagne down at their offices. And everyone's there celebrating, and we were all so happy with the result. And I noticed no one was posting about it on social media. No one was taking photographs. And I said, come on, guys, let's get together, take a photograph, and I'll post it on LinkedIn. So a couple of things happened from this. One is I got 45 messages in my LinkedIn inbox from other companies that were looking to raise capital. So it generated a bunch of leads for me. Went viral because it's an inspiring piece of content. The West Australian got in touch and wanted to interview the founder because they saw the post. And so all this was created just by posting about it, which otherwise wouldn't have happened. So you can get a lot of leads and attention and PR opportunities by posting about not just yourself, but other people. I mean, I was involved in the campaign, but I certainly wasn't responsible for all of it. I was just part of the team. Education. We see a lot of this on LinkedIn. So just educating people about your topic. If you're talking about sales, what are your top 3 sales tips? What are things that people do wrong in sales? And just come up with educational content. You can search for the most frequently asked questions on sales on Google and find out what they are and create content around them, around this. Another way you can create educational content is, this is an example of somebody that came along to an event that I ran. 3 things they learned from the event. So you've all been to a LinkedIn Live today. You could literally post either a screenshot or a selfie of yourself at your computer and say, hey, I tuned into Nathaniel's webinar today, and these are the 3 things I learned. And you're educating your audience, which is providing value, which is giving another exposure, mere exposure effects. And so you can even tie it to your industry, and there's lots of ways that you can create educational content. So be thinking about that kind of stuff. Information. So if there's news that happens in your industry, of course, you're more likely to hear about it first. When LinkedIn introduced stories, they've actually discontinued them now, but obviously I heard about it quite quickly. And then I knew people in my audience wouldn't be paying attention to this stuff. They've got their own industries that they're in, own businesses to run. So I wrote an article called 4 Ways to Grow Your Brand with LinkedIn Stories. And then because I was one of the first to sort of post about it, a lot of online websites that started writing about LinkedIn Stories actually linked back to my article and referenced it. So it's a great way to also write on the back of news or information in your industry. Entertainment. This one was a particular example, was a video that someone had on their profile that was done by Liam Neeson. They won a competition and Liam Neeson did a video for them, and I posted about it. Entertaining content, did well. You can find this sort of stuff on Facebook and Instagram. What's entertaining? If you're a bit of a comedian or there's something funny going on in your office, by all means post about it. It'll do particularly well. Here are some more examples just to talk about the copywriting. The writing is quite important on LinkedIn, like the writing part of the post, whether you're using image, videos, or whatever. You'll notice that these sentences are very short. I don't really have more than 1 sentence in each paragraph. And that's done by design. It makes it very easy to read on a mobile device, and it makes it very engaging. So the first sentence is the most important. Remote work is my jam. That's the hook. And then people want to find out more. And then I contradict that but it's not all palm trees and pina coladas. The work doesn't stop because you're not in the office. Balancing tasks, a daily challenge. So it's short, easy to read. The hook draws people in, and then you want to finish with a call to comment. Generally, call to comment is the best. Call to action, people generally say, but I always like to encourage people to comment. So I finish with, so what about you? Ever tried the remote work life? If you could, where would you set up your office? Let me know in the comments. So drive some conversation. There's another one that did particularly well. I'll never forget the day I quit my job. That's the hook. It encourages curiosity. People want to know more. And then I add, I was flat broke, drowning in debt and close to being evicted that evening. And I'm moving into storytelling. As the sun set, I reached for the light switch. Nothing happened. So you're writing a little bit different to what you were taught in school. Much shorter sentences. You're almost writing like you talk or writing like you send a text message. And that's what creates engagement. And you can kind of see that the sentences are shorter, then longer, and then I've got a shorter one. And that's really to draw people in and keep people engaged. Just one more example here where I'm using bullet points. Again, this is a great way to, it's almost like a list type post. LinkedIn likes won't pay your rent is the hook. On LinkedIn, we often get obsessed with the number of likes, the amount of shares, the comments we receive, the new connections we make. But let's be real. These metrics are just fantasies. They're very easy to read, short sentences. And then I've got a picture that's relevant. So you kind of want, ideally the pictures with you in it will do the best, but you kind of want to make them relevant. So in this case, I've got a t-shirt on that says likes what don't pay the bills. But try and make the picture relevant to what you're talking about. Okay, now I'm going to talk about an example of how you can batch create content, because we don't have time to just be creating videos every time we want to post. How do you batch create videos? I've got this system that I use for clients, and you can use it yourself, or you can outsource to us. So it's called Behind the Brand, where you're sharing the story behind your company. And there's an image of me doing this with Grant Cardone. And this is a table here. It might be a bit difficult to read, but it says pillar content, micro content, distribute across social media. So this is a system that I got from Gary Vee, where you create a big pillar piece of content. In this case, it's a long form interview, whether it's about an hour long video interview, and then you chop that up into 20 short micro videos with branded intros, headline, B-roll, subtitles, all that kind of stuff. Distribute it across social media, then you analyze what works, and then you create more pillar content. So you need a content calendar. It's very simple. If you want me to send you my content calendar template, just type in calendar in the chat. I'm more than happy to send it to you after the call. But it's very easy to see what I'm posting, what day. And then there's another tab at the bottom of the Google Sheet there that says posts. And then you can see the list of what the captions say for each video, or each image, and a link to the media as well. So you must have a content calendar. Doesn't have to be complicated. This is one we use. If you'd like a copy of it, just type in calendar into the chat and I'll send it to you after the call. And this is what it looks like when we batch create videos. So one interview, and then it's created all these different videos with the headline there to create the curiosity, to get people to click on it. I'm a big believer in video content. I think it's a great way for you to create a close relationship with your audience very quickly. And then you do with the same thing with quotes, inspirational quotes. Batch create them, so you're creating 10 or 20 at a time. And use the branded, template for that on Canva, or outsource it to a company like us. So we're doing a mixture of videos and images for our clients. Here's a behind the brand case study here from Amiga Operations. They had 277 leads since working with us. And what the great thing about Simon was, when he started, he didn't have many LinkedIn connections, about 100 or so. And he was targeting, owners of mining companies, mining supply companies, things like that. These logos towards the bottom are some of the companies we managed to generate leads with him for. So big companies, But then his newsfeed, because he started from a low base of connections, it was all CEOs of mining companies and mining services companies. So really targeted. It was a great audience. These are the figures on his content. Almost 30,000 views, 460 likes, 230 comments, 32 shares. And that's from posting nothing and from starting from an almost non-existent audience. Number of views on his profile, obviously, from posting content was huge. 795 people viewed his profile over the 90-day period. Okay, so that's a good case study. Like, if any of you are interested in learning more about our LinkedIn services, whether it's content or lead generation, just write me a LinkedIn message. I'm more than happy to have a chat to you about it, see if your business is a good fit. We're approaching the end of the call now. I'm going a bit over time, an hour and 15 minutes. what's your biggest takeaway to wrap up? Type it in the chat. I'd love to know your feedback on what you found most valuable from this LinkedIn Live. Will just help me to do better ones in the future. I plan on doing these every couple of months. So I'll be able to gear the content more towards what you find most valuable. So please type in your biggest takeaway, type it in the chat. I'd love to hear from you. And if you haven't already, this webinar is sponsored by Pipedrive. Hopefully they're going to be sponsoring more of these. It'd be really helpful if you could go sign up to their 30-day trial, bibby.consulting/Pipedrive. That'll enable me to do more content like this. And it'll also help you manage your LinkedIn leads and inbox and make sure that you're following up correctly, keep track of all of your contacts in one place, use the templates, the deal flow, manage your sales pipeline like we showed in the demo. Really encourage you all to take advantage of that offer. Don't have to put any credit card details in, and then if you do decide to sign up to Pipedrive after the 30-day period, you will get 20% off. So it's a great offer. And then finally, I'm just going to address one of these questions here. Cam has posted a question. A client met to cancel insurance as he'd been on work cover due to shoulder injury, couldn't afford insurance premium. Instead, I got him 1.65 million of disability benefit. How do I use this as a call to action? I think this would be a great example of like a case study that you could post on LinkedIn. And you could do it in multiple ways. You could do it in an image, you could do it in a video, you could do it in a carousel. It's a great opportunity for you to use that case study as an example of one of the benefits that you use. So I think, the call to action is more so, do I book a meeting or how do I find out more? And this could be the example that actually draws people in. Nice to see you, Gerard. Thanks, Cam. Glad you're a believer. Lots of people requesting the calendar here. I'll make sure I get back to you all. Finally, one little benefit for sticking through to the end. If you do want me to have a look at your LinkedIn profile and make some recommendations, I'm happy to have a look at it for you, and I'll drop you an audio note with some advice on how you can improve your profile. So just shoot me a private message on LinkedIn if you'd like me to review your profile. It's a little thank you from me for sticking through to the end of the webinar. Really appreciate you guys all being here. Have a great day on LinkedIn. Thanks very much for being here, and I hope to see you at the next one.